Guys, Dan Hendriksen here at Torquay Golf Club. We're going to get out onto the golf course today. We're going to meet up with Lee. Now, Lee is one of my journey students for this year. We've been going through, obviously, a few things with Lee with all parts of his game, but now's the time to get him out onto the golf course and see if we can help him get around that course a little bit easier. Let's get onto the first tee and find Lee. Right, Lee, first tee.
Yeah.
You ever get nervous on the first tee?
In competition I do, yeah.
You do, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit, especially when there's people looking. It's that first tee nerves.
So is there anything that you try and do to combat the first tee nerves?
Not really. Just sort of try and get out of the way, get down the first and forget about it.
Okay, so you just sort of want to get the shot over and done with as quickly as you possibly can, yeah?
Exactly that.
Okay, right, let's get you in the zone then, shall we? So club to start off with, what are you hitting down here? It's a 380, 90 yard hole.
So I hit my 3-wood because it's a safer shot.
Right, okay.
With the wind the way it is left to right, if I use a drive off the first, my miss is a big high slice, so yeah. I'd rather not do that on the first tee.
Okay.
I'm going for that big tree in the distance.
What, the big tree, tallest tree there that I can see?
The tallest tree, and then try
and then let the wind just knock it off
wind.
there, off to the centre of the fairway. Good, yeah. Like that. Pretty good. Started in the right position, just overcut it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get down there and find it, mate. So ended up a little bit right of target there. I felt that the actual strike was pretty good.
Yeah, the strike was...
Started it where you wanted to start it, but just really moved and then moved on the wind as well, didn't it?
Yeah, so I slightly left the face open. I hit the middle of the club, but because I left the face open and the wind's left to right, it's my massive right miss.
So Lee and I have just had a bit of a chat as we walked down the fairway there, and we were talking about first tee nerves, and even though he says he doesn't necessarily get first tee nerves, in a way he is, because he's kind of rushing through the process of what he's trying to do down there. For me, it's about getting into the position of trying to think about those swing thoughts that we talked about a lot in the studio. If he can start to focus more on the swing thoughts and forget about the people that are around him, forget about the anxiousness of playing the game of golf, then hopefully he's going to hit a lot better shots. He just rushed the whole process of getting off the first tee. So the end result is, though, you're okay. We're okay. We've got a shot to the green. Again, your speed has kind of helped you on that, but now it's a case of getting yourself back into position. So I'm thinking for you right now, because of what you've kind of just gone through there, it's about let's steady the ship straight off the bat. So let's start aiming more centre of the green to get us going with. Let's not go hunting for pins, okay?
Yep. Wind
off your left again there, Lee. So I want to get you sort of aiming more towards the sort of front portion of the green and then just let it drift on the wind if you can.
Hit 6 iron because it's into wind and try and keep it low, but high enough to go over the trees and then let it drift slightly.
Okay, that's fine. Just make sure you get it over those trees. That's position number one. You don't want to be killing it into those trees and then having no shot from there, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely executed it. You see how you've got into the zone there, mate, of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Very
good golf shot, but you've kind of pictured the shot before you've hit it, which is absolutely what you've got to try and learn how to do off the first tee. So really good shot played in there. I mean, has that settled you down a little bit now?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get it as clean as I'd like to, but everything I pictured in my mind happened. So I started it over that side of the green. The wind brought it in towards the right where the flag is, slightly short.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sensible shot. You had lots of green to work with. You weren't really sort of focusing too much on the flag. You were just sort of aiming, trying to get it into the middle of the green. You just had lots of green to work with, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly that. And now I'm exactly where I want to be.
Yeah.
Off the first, if I can walk off the first with a par, settles my nerves down. I think it's going to come in off the right.
Okay. Do you ever look? I want you to start. I want you to start looking around the green a little bit more. So look at where the drop-offs are, look at where the sort of sloping is rolling around the green. If you can start to look around more, you'll start to get a visual of what the green is actually trying to kind of tell you, really. Just lacked a little bit of pace, that was all. Not quite the most confident of putts. Again, is that purely down to the fact that you just weren't 100% convinced on the line?
Yeah, and just speed control. It takes me 2 or 3 holes to get used to the greens, so that easy 2-putt pars now made a difficult 2-putt par.
Come on then, let's tidy it up. But you just off that, just left half. I would be positive on left half. Yeah, move. You just started it probably just a fraction outside. Again, focusing more on maybe start point from there was probably the more important part of that putt.
Yeah, it's definitely a downside to mine putting is start points and reading greens. It's I just see left to right and kind of guess.
You could see the way Lee was kind of setting himself up, certainly in those first few shots that he's played there. Trying to settle down the nerves is a key factor for a lot of us golfers out there playing. When you're teeing off the first, obviously we're trying to deal with those first tee nerves. That's always a tricky one from that point of view, but again, trying to settle into the ideas of what your swing is trying to do or what you're trying to do with the shot can start to change your visualization just that little bit easier and a little bit better for your game. Settled himself down nicely with the second shot, but then got onto the putting green and then it sort of backtracked him a little bit. So again, let's get to the next hole and see if we can control this game a little bit better. Right, par 3, 151 over the water.
Yep.
Wind down and off the right slightly?
Yeah.
Okay, so what have you got?
I've got an 8-iron because it's a controlled 8-iron for me,
yeah.
Whereas a 9-iron it would be a bit of a whack, and then the faster I'm swinging at the minute, the more problems happen. So I'm trying to hit a controlled 8-iron, so try and aim for the right side of the green and let the wind drift it into the flag.
So I like the fact that Lee's grabbed his 8-iron, because when you get a more lofted club and try and hit it up into the air, sometimes the wind can knock it down, and therefore it starts to lose the yardage that you're expecting to get from the wind kicking it forward. So a little knockdown 8 is absolutely what I would be trying to play myself. Right, Lee, really get into this shot, all right? Visualize it, get a real focal point of what you're trying to do, trying to take away all the sort of peripheral vision, should we say?
Yep.
And really zone in on the shape of shot that you want to try and do, and then try and find that swing within you, yeah?
Yep. Right middle bunker.
Okay.
Try and give it a little bit of right to left draw spin, but let the wind bring it round mostly.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Just a fraction heavy. Going to get it onto the front edge?
Yeah, I just caught it a little bit heavy. It's
a little bit heavy. It was the right shape though. Everything you kind of pictured it to do, just didn't quite get the strike, did you?
No. No, it's that thought of, you know, when you said to me, look at the front of the ball instead of the back.
Yeah.
Completely didn't even think about it.
Okay.
And that's what's making me hit it heavy, is looking at the back of the ball. So I need to get that swing thought into my head again.
Right, we've got it.
My worst nightmare, Dan.
This is it, is it? You don't like this area?
No, this is indecision area for me.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
What I want to do,
yeah,
is 56 or 60.
Right. One hop.
Maybe let it release slightly to the hole, or if it's the green's receptive, to stop.
Yeah.
What I'll probably do, because of confidence, is 9-iron chip and run.
So what Lee's got to work with here is he's coming on an upslope. He's then got this big rise, so he's coming from a down position and up onto the green, which is then kind of all upslope to here, and then it flattens out a little bit, and then again it's all then upslope up to the flag. So what he's got to make sure he does is really, he's got a couple of options really. He can either try and run it up this slope, but that means he's going to have to get the ball running very early, so he's going to have to go sort of very low in his loft to get it just running, because he doesn't want to be bouncing it into the slope too much. Or he can throw it beyond this point and kind of pretend that this is the first part of the green that he's going to be landing it on, and then let it release out from there. So after that, what do you prefer to do? Are you going to want to run it up through this, because it's actually quite nice, it's nicely cut, so it can release up there, but you're going to have to be going like with like a 5-iron or a 6-iron to certainly get it going low? Or do you prefer to sort of chuck it up onto the first part of that green and let it release out towards the flag?
I prefer to chuck it up and release, but confidence says no.
And this is a key factor. Technique is everything, obviously, it's key to what you're trying to do, but ultimately his emotions are going to play a big part in this next shot. Now he's got to make that decision based on what he's feeling as well as what his expectations of his skill set is. Let's get that club out that you think you're going to be using.
I'm going to 8-iron chip and run it.
Where are you going to land the 8-iron? Just go and point to me where you're thinking of landing it.
Probably the top of this ridge here.
So top of that ridge is where you're looking to land it?
Yeah, because then it goes onto a downslope to pick the speed up.
Yeah.
To then go up the slight upslope towards the pin.
Okay. I would prefer to see you throw it a little bit further, more like there is where I'd prefer to see it, because even if you don't quite catch it, I don't want to see you landing into that upslope. I want to make sure that you get it beyond that point. I prefer to see you go maybe with a wedge and throw it above that,
okay,
and let it release out, or go with the very lower option from there. I think pitching wedge and throw it, make sure you throw it up up to that top shelf. If you want to go high, make sure you throw it far enough up there. That's my sort of message, really. So we're going to go with wedge, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to make sure that you get it a good 3 paces beyond where that initial landing spot was that you had in mind, all right?
For this kind of shot, I've always been a bit of a handle forward, try and rotate with it.
Okay.
But I think to me that can bring in the fat. I'm not sure if this is that type of shot, or am I more looking to like keep it level with the sternum and pot it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Lee. So you're trying to almost like, you're trying to use, is it a chip shot or is it a pitch shot? It's kind of what you're talking about there. And I want to try and get you to think about this as more of a putting technique. So all we're going to do is make sure we keep the weight slightly forward here. I don't want the handle leaning too far forward because I don't want you to take the bounce off the club too much. I still want that club to sort of work with the ground, but definitely not using too much hinging and turning and things like that, and the body movement. You can get a little bit into a position where you get the weight kind of shifts across, which is when you start to catch it a little bit heavy. Your position here, I want to just sort of feel like you're getting set up like a putt, but as a putt you would stay more centered. With this one you're going to lean just a little bit more towards the target and then just execute it like a putt, basically. So you're not trying to pick the ball up, you're just trying to feel like you can push that club through like you would a putting technique. No real wrist angles there.
Can we just pretend I played that?
And then you end up kind of up by the flag there, don't you?
Yeah, alright. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Simple, really.
Yeah, so let's just try and keep that technique, keep it really, really simple is absolutely the word here. Just a good shot, executed it really quite nicely. Popped up a little bit on you, so you could play around with your loft, so you could have probably used a 9-iron there or something along those lines, but all in all you're going to take the shot because it's now just a nice little uphill putt for a three. So there's another kind of prime example when you get onto these greens where sometimes you've got like ridges to go over, or you're trying to chip it over some trouble maybe. Try and make sure you throw it just that little bit further. Key thing is obviously strike, and if you get your strike just slightly wrong, which to be fair, on conditions like today where it's a little bit wet underfoot, it's so easy just to catch the ball a little bit heavy. For Lee, I just wanted him to get the feeling of throwing that ball just that little bit further. I felt that he was kind of living life on a bit of a knife edge there with that particular shot, and just by him throwing that much further, it just gave him that little bit of wriggle room if he just caught it a fraction heavy.
3-putt territory this, Dad.
3-putt territory? I don't think so. Let's get in the zone, come on. Right, what are you seeing?
So it's uphill,
yeah.
And the conditions are a bit wet, as we found out in the last, so I'm going to hit it a little bit harder than normal.
Yeah.
It's in off the right, so I'm going to aim half a cup to the right, so I'm hoping it'll sort of drop in off the right hand edge.
Just a good putt. I know it's moved a little bit more than you probably would hope, but it's just a good putt there. Right, so bogey start.
Yeah.
Okay, but how do you feel like the game is playing at this stage? I mean, you're in tough conditions, so it's quite windy, it's wet. The scoring today, if this was a competition, wouldn't be overly low. So how are you feeling kind of right now with regards to the way you've started?
First hole, I was, it's kind of iffy. The ball striking's there. It's just the swing thoughts. I've got to keep thinking of the swing thoughts to get the better ball striking. But that pitch was a confidence build for me because I executed it.
270 you've got to this green. This 17th hole here has just been pushed forward, so this is very much drivable for you.
Yeah.
You're at 270, well, today downwind as well. You know, you could probably even get 3 wood there. Now's a chance for you to kind of really get one back, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time I've now used the driver, so I kind of don't know what's happening or what the tendency is for the day. But if I'm driving well, this would be one of those that I'd attack, and I think this is birdie territory. This is get one back for me.
I agree. I think this is the type of hole that I want to get you as close as we possibly can to that green. There is a little bit of trouble up there with regards to a few bunkers, but to be honest with you, with what we've been working on with your bunker play, I think we should be okay. But now's the time to get one back.
Oh, blank on it.
That's okay. Got it out the toe. It's coming back though.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Not the best strike.
No.
But again, you your start position was a little bit right because you got it out the toe, but because of the gearing of it, it kind of started to come back for you.
Yeah, I just sort of leant on it a little bit, kept the sort of my spine angle back and didn't really rotate through.
So again, moving on to the next hole as such, you would start to just learn from your little experience that you had on that one shot. So it was quite interesting walking up there talking to Lee. He sort of felt that he maybe lost a little bit of train of thought as to what he was trying to do with that shot once he got over the ball. Now for me, it's about going out in practice rounds and working on pre-shot routines. Pre-shot routines are there to try and help you try and visualize different shots. So when Lee then gets onto the golf course in a competition, he can rely on his pre-shot routine to remember. It's just triggers as to what he's trying to remember for each shot. It's just something that might be able to help you guys as well. Right, we have it.
Yeah.
Okay, weren't feeling quite right over the shot in the end, were you? You were talking to me about
as soon as I hit it, I said to you straight away, there's no swing thoughts at all in my head, and that's what I need to start getting. Every shot is think about what I want to do,
pre-shot
as opposed
routine,
to hitting
pre-shot
it.
routine. And it's really easy to fall in the trap when you're playing with mates and things like that, that you just go out and play. Well, actually, when it comes to then tournaments, you've got to rely on that pre-shot routine.
Yeah.
And that's where your practice of the pre-shot routine, should we say, and your swing thoughts can help when it comes to actually playing the tournament. Okay, so we hit the tree and we've come up a little bit short, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got 70 yards in.
70 yards in, okay. So pin is at the front here now, Lee, so you've got to be very careful with this shot, okay? So we're not going to now start chasing. I don't want you to make a bad decision after what has ended up in a bad result, shall we say.
Yeah.
I want you to now try and execute this shot where you're not trying to flirt too much with that pin. I want to make sure you get it past this pin. If you get it, obviously a good shot, then you've got a good birdie opportunity, but I just want to make sure that we don't leave ourselves short of this green trying to pin hunt, okay? So let's try and get you, what do you say you've got? 70 yards?
So I've got 70 yards. I did have a 56, which is what I would have hit, but that's pin hunting territory. So I've changed to a 50 to go for an easy sort of 80 yard shot in my head.
Perfect. 75 to 80 yards is where you want to be trying to land.
If I catch it a little bit too thick, it should still get to 17.
Well, let's go for it. Good looking shot. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much 75 yards.
Yep.
Executed that perfectly. How was your thoughts going on in that shot?
So my routine is always stand behind, not line it up, but then I thought about my wrist position, hitting the front of the ball, which is that thing you said to me, and rotating through as opposed to being a bit armsy, and I hit it really well. So
it's taking your mind away from, let's say, a poor shot or all the sort of trouble around the green. It's getting your mind to think about more positives rather than the negatives of the shot.
Yeah, so it was go past it safely on the green, and if I hit it a little bit lighter, then it's going to go pin high, as opposed to a 56 could probably bring me up short. It'd be a bad decision.
Let's go and roll it in for your birdie, shall we? Right, walking up, I mean, that is pretty much 75 yards you've carried that, and it's dropped and stopped pretty quickly for you.
Yeah, exactly what I want it to do.
Absolutely. Make sure you get it past, when this pin is tucked at the front part of this green, there's a big drop off at the front here, and anything short is going to really sort of hurt him coming up, but you know, making sure that it gets it all the way back to that 75 yards was really, really key for Lee there to get himself into a good position. Okay, thought process on this particular putt now.
Just be positive with it now, because I've got a chance to get a shot back.
Okay, yeah.
It's slightly downhill, so don't be over positive, because you could run it. I know it's winter, so it's not going to run as fast as normal, but there's always that opportunity to three-putt this rather than a nice easy par. Try and get the birdie now, because this is the sort of territory at my handicap I should be taking advantage of birdies, because they don't come around that often.
Oh, that was a good putt. That was a good putt, that was. Okay, tap it in. Well done. Solid. Okay, so it was a good putt to finish.
Yeah, can't be bothered by that. It's
it just caught the edge and stayed out there, didn't it? That's what we thought it would do. Again, I thought the wind maybe just played a little bit of a factor in that putt in the end.
It kind of broke to the right as opposed to coming in off the right, so the wind, just as it slowed down,
holding it up,
held it out there. Yeah.
Okay, so if we were now moving on to the fourth hole, how are you feeling now?
What am I, 2 over after 3? I'm feeling confident because the ball striking's there. I'd be a bit wary of the driver until I've hit a good one, because it's a massive confidence thing. But ball striking and short game, the first sort of real attempt at a short game has been good, I'd be feeling positive now, and I'd be trying to maybe attack a little bit more than I would have been at the first 2-3 holes.
So some really good things that Lee was doing out on the golf course there. You could see kind of his emotions changing as he went around the golf course for just the 3 holes that we've played there. So it's important to get an idea of where you're comfortable and not comfortable. You could see from Lee that he really was struggling on that first tee. He didn't probably let out that he was struggling, but I think from the way he was rushing through the shot just to get off that first tee, I think there's a lot of people out there that would suffer in those same sort of circumstances. For Lee, we're just working his way around the golf course. You know, Lee's come from an 18 to a 12 handicap. He's getting better all the time in all the different aspects of the game. It's now just trying to bring it together, and this is what this journey's been about for us, is now trying to work on obviously the skills that we've given him and now bring it to the golf course and see if we can sort of start plotting around the golf course that little bit easier. Let me know, put your comments down below. Have you been out on the golf course with a pro yourself? Have you been through this kind of experience with a pro? A playing lesson is what I call this. It's sort of helping Lee get around the golf course. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Put your comments down there. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.